Hey guys, my name's Carlos Bowser.
Hey guys, my name is Paul Shiller.
Hi, my name's Prasad Patwardhan.
Hey guys, my name is Drew Hein.
Hi, my name is Cade McCormick.
The topic we're going to be discussing today is DDoS, also called Distributed Denial of Service Attack. We are going to both define and explain what a DDoS attack is, discuss the ramifications of the threat, and the cost of the attack. We will touch on some prominent historical examples of DDoS attacks, as well as make some recommendations as to how companies can better protect themselves against this type of threat. And then we will conclude by summarizing everything. You may be wondering what is a distributed denial of service attack, also known as DDoS, and the good news is we're here to explain that to you. A DDoS attack is when multiple machines are operating together to attack one target. DDoS allows for exponentially more requests to be sent to the target, therefore increasing the attack power. It also increases the difficulty of attribution, as the true source of the attack is harder to identify. DDoS attackers often leverage the use of a botnet, a group of hijacked internet-connected devices to carry out large-scale attacks. Attackers take advantage of security vulnerabilities or device weaknesses to control numerous devices using command and control software. Once in control, an attacker can command their botnet to conduct DDoS on a target. In this case, the infected devices are also victims of the attack. Once established, the botnet, made up of compromised devices, may also be rented out to other potential attackers. Often, the botnet is made available to attack for hire services, which allow even the most unskilled users to launch DDoS attacks.
Now that you know a little bit more about DDoS, let's talk about the different types of DDoS attacks. The first type is the application layer attacks. With these DDoS attacks, traffic doesn't look too much different than the traffic of a regular user. The reason being is both the attacker and botnet involved in application layer attacks make it look like normal user activity and do so by not using as much bandwidth as other attack types. This type of attack has been rather prevalent since 2010. A second type of DDoS attack that we see is botnet-driven attacks. These attacks have manifested in bunches as many devices have poor security and are easily taken advantage of. Hackers using botnets are virtually impossible to trace if they know what they're doing. Additionally, with enough botnets, an entire server can be brought down, so these are serious concerns for organizations. A third type of DDoS attack that we see is multi-vector attacks. An increase in these attacks tied back to monetization of hireable botnet and higher services. These attacks decrease as bad actors go after the same targets with the same techniques. These are the most sophisticated type of DDoS activity. The last type of DDoS attack that we're going to touch on is pulse wave attacks. These attacks are structured to evade traditional detection methods, making them very effective for hackers. Instead of an instance of massive traffic over a brief period of time, aka one big attack over an hour, pulse wave attacks utilize DDoS resources and attacks on more clients. In essence, 60 one-minute attacks on 60 people, making them very effective and that much more debilitating on widespread groups of people.
Now, we're going to move on and talk about the ramifications of a DDoS attack and the cost to orchestrate a DDoS attack. The consequences of a successful DDoS attack against an enterprise can be very dire. It can pose financial costs as well as an overall negative impact on the brand's reputation. However, the impacts of a successful DDoS attack can be more devastating than this. VeriSign, a reputable company that focuses on network security and infrastructure, has conducted research on the consequences of a DDoS attack. DDoS attacks can severely impact a company's revenue, as industry surveys show that the average cost of downtime is $5,600 a minute, or over $300,000 an hour. Not only that, but companies frequently experience large amounts of productivity loss during these attacks, which contribute to the cost of downtime. Brand reputation is also damaged by an attack, as customers can't access the company's services during this time, which can upset customers. Customer data can also be lost in a data breach, which might cause some customers to stop purchasing your services. Finally, with the attacks becoming more and more common and more advanced, DDoS attacks can be integrated with other kinds of attacks to steal funds, customer data, and intellectual property, all of which is very devastating. Surprisingly, costs to start a DDoS attack are relatively low. DDoS attacks against small organizations can cost as little as $7 an hour. However, targeting a DDoS against a company can cost thousands or millions of dollars, according to experts at Kaspersky, a multinational cybersecurity and antivirus provider. However, the overall cost of a DDoS attack depends on several factors. First, the target of a DDoS attack, as well as the target's characteristics, play a large role in determining the cost. A cybercriminal that specializes in attacking government entities will attract customers who are interested in this particular service. The attacker can then ask for more money for this type of service than they would to attack an online store. The cost of service may also depend on the type of anti-DDoS protection the potential victim has. If the target uses traffic filtering systems to protect its resources, the cybercriminals have to come up with ways of bypassing them, which in turn could increase costs. Another characteristic is the attack source and their characteristics. The cheaper it is for a criminal to maintain their botnet, the more likely they are to charge lower prices for their services. For example, a botnet of 1,000 surveillance cameras will be cheaper to organize than, say, a botnet of 100 servers. This is because cameras and other IoT devices are currently less secure, making it cheaper to operate these types of organizations. Finally, the average cost of a DDoS attack as a service in a particular country could affect the price, as competition can cause cybercriminals to raise or lower the cost of their services.
We can take a look back in history to see just how much damage and how many consequences can come from these attacks. In early 2015, GitHub was attacked with a DDoS attack where the attackers supposedly hijacked something called memcaching. This allowed them to massively amplify their traffic volumes, and as a result, GitHub went offline for 5 minutes. The attack was traced back to 1,000 different autonomous systems across tens of thousands of unique endpoints, showing how it is almost impossible to track the attackers in these incidents. The next attack we will look at was against Cloudflare back in 2014. Cloudflare, a security provider and content delivery network, was attacked with 400 gigabytes per second and targeted European servers. The attack was directed at one customer, but was powerful enough to affect Cloudflare's whole network. The attack was completed using a vulnerability in the network time protocol, which helps with computer clock synchronization. Large amounts of this data are very difficult to block because it is legitimate data coming from spoofed yet valid users. The last example from recent years we will look at was a 500 gigabyte per second attack that targeted the Hong Kong-based grassroots movement Occupy Central after they were campaigning for a more democratic system. Attackers sent this large amount of traffic to 3 different Occupy Central websites and 2 others that supported their cause. The attackers disguised junk packets as legitimate traffic so they could evade detection. These DDoS attacks are dangerous to many different businesses and organizations and are so difficult to stop because of the many ways that traffic can be disguised before it's too late.
Now that we've established what these attacks are and the threats they present, we can review different methods of addressing and mitigating DDoS attacks. One means of addressing DDoS attacks technically is through a third-party protection software. Tools like Imperva and Capsula can allow companies to reroute traffic through their network to behave as a secure proxy. Through this tool's role engine that monitors client behavior, reputation, and HTTP footprint, Encapsula can block illegitimate traffic without affecting standard users. Another method is to introduce internal policy and procedure for preparing against potential DDoS attacks. By auditing the organization's network, a group can better protect against availability attacks and improve security of the network architecture. Tools like LOIC, Low Orbit Ion Cannon, and RUDY, Are You Dead Yet attacks can stress test an organization's network to simulate potentially real DDoS attacks. By using tools like these quarterly, companies can be confident in their network and durability. Our final recommendation is for organizations to have mandatory training to educate the staff about the threats of modern DDoS attacks. Just as buildings have regular fire drills, in-person or online courses can teach an organization's IT department about protecting against DDoS attacks and what to do in this scenario and which one occurs. Imperva Encapsula, for instance, offers a DDoS protection bootcamp with knowledge and skills tests, so a company's staff can be better prepared against a variety of DDoS attacks. Given that attacks on organizations via network traffic are only becoming more prevalent with time, it's increasingly important to be better prepared through technical and internal solutions.
In conclusion, a distributed denial of service attack is a malicious attempt to disrupt normal traffic of a targeted server, service, or network by overwhelming the target or its surrounding infrastructure with a flood of internet traffic. DDoS attacks achieve effectiveness by utilizing multiple compromised computer systems as sources of attack traffic. Ramifications of successful DDoS attacks for an organization include revenue loss, productivity loss, reputation damage, and theft. There are many examples of successful DDoS attacks. However, there are ways to mitigate them, including technical, policy, and educational solutions.